Today, we are going to embark on our first history lab of the year. So, this history lab is going to go over Hinduism and the caste system using primary sources, kind of like you do in your DBQs, to connect it back to the essential question and the main idea and the purpose of each one of those primary sources and what role do they have in Hinduism and the caste system. Our first step that we're going to do is we're going to read the essential question, the standard up at the top. So, your standard is explain the major beliefs and practices associated with Hinduism and the social structure of the caste system in ancient India. So, flipping that around, your essential question: what are the major beliefs and practices associated with Hinduism and the caste system in ancient India? Each one of these sources is broken down. You need the main idea of the source itself, just like answering questions in your DBQ. But at the end, you always bring it back to that major question of a DBQ. But we're not writing an essay this time. We're just going to be writing a thesis statement at the bottom. Your four sources that you are doing today is source number 1, diagram of the caste system. Source number 2, caste laws. Source number 3, religious beliefs behind the caste system. Source number 4, image of reincarnation with infinity symbol in the middle. You're going to go over the main idea and then bring it back to that essential question each and every time. Then answer that essential question at the bottom in a thesis statement summarizing each one of those main ideas and points. When you turn your page or you are doing this digitally, you're going to go into source number 1. Source number 1 is a diagram of the caste system. The Brahmins and the priests, like going into the kings and rulers, the merchants and craftsmen and landowners, then down into Sudra, which is the farm workers. And then remember, you have the untouchable section that's not there. So, analyzing this, what is the main idea of this? And then bring it back to that essential question. Once again, your essential question is: what are the major beliefs and practices associated with Hinduism and the caste system in ancient India? So, what are the main ideas in this document itself in that first column? And then go into the second column and you are going to bring it back to the essential question. If you want to do the bring it back to the essential question when you are done with each one of them and you have taken notes on each one, that's perfectly fine. Here in source number 2, you are looking at caste laws. So just like Hammurabi, they are polytheistic. They have theology. Remember, theo means God. So theocracy is a government run by religion. So their theology and their understanding of their rules is coming from something from their gods or their religion. Kind of like Hammurabi's code, he got that from the god of justice and then placed it out for everyone to see. The Indians are doing that with their stupas and they're putting it out there on pillars and they're spreading words of their religion, whether it's Buddhism or Hinduism. But here we're looking at the Hinduism connection to caste laws and the caste system and how that influences ancient India. So you are going to look at each one of these caste laws. You're going to write down the main idea of the passage, taking notes. What is it talking about? What are the main ideas of each one of these laws? And then you are going to bring it back to that essential question. As we study our Greek roots, you know that theo means God. So theocracy, theology, is a study relating to or a government relating to God. So the theology behind the caste, so looking at the history of ancient India's caste system, is going to be super important as we go through this. So the theology behind the caste, you're going to look at this history and then you are going to answer the questions of what is the main idea of this passage and how does it relate back to the essential question. Source number 4 is going to be that infinity symbol. So what you are going to see as you're looking at this, there's old people, they're getting older and older and older. They're coming into this figure 8 where there is the Grim Reaper here. They are dying and then going through and being reborn, starting off as a baby and going up. So that infinity symbol is that sidewards figure 8. You're going to be looking at this in the idea of when we did our doodle notes, you see that there's birth, death, rebirth, re-death. As we're cycling through this, okay, They are reincarnated, and you can change your caste based on your good karma. So use your notes from class to be able to answer these questions, bringing it back in and taking and connecting those notes into this, whether it's your notes from your textbook, the doodle notes that we did in class, the videos that we did in class, your notes from the videos in class. You are then pulling it back in and applying those notes into each one of these pictures to bring it back to the main idea and the essential question. Then creating your thesis statement. All right, we're going to TTQA here. So you're going to rewrite your question into your answer. So you need to reword: what are the major beliefs and practices associated with Hinduism and the caste system in ancient India? Summarizing how you connected each one of these four sources into this, you are making a bold thesis statement. If you were going to write a paper on this, a DBQ paper on this, and you're going to start off your essay really nice and strong and tell me what it is that you're doing. What are you standing on? What is the stance? What is the argument that you are making that India is based off this caste system and Hinduism and how that influences them? Please summarize that out into a form of a thesis and place that at the bottom. If you need extra space, remember TTQA, turn the question around and write in complete sentences. Use extra space if you need extra space.